this point is actually put all of your pieces back in. Actually, before we do that, let me show you this. It's easier to do the next step. You're going to take a regular basic white, not thick, just basic white. You could do thick, but no need. And I have cut this at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I am going to give it a little haircut when we're all done, but that's how I'm starting this card here. So what I want to do is I want to abut. I'm going to flip it over. I want to abut this, which is the basic white cardstock. I want to abut that right against this side here and this side here. And I'm just going to move it as close to those two places as I can. And then when I get it right here, I'm going to take my Post-it note tape. Now you could do this with Post-it notes. That would work as well. Any repositionable adhesive tape that you have would work for this. But I really like this Post-it note tape. I got it on Amazon. Wasn't inexpensive, I'll be honest with you, but life-changing in the craft room. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and it's really like papery. It's less tapey and more papery, but this side is the that you can move it around. And I just want to hold these two together, so I'm putting a little piece on the side and a little piece over here, so you can see that, right? Okay, now I'm going to flip it over to the other side where we started this creation. Let me put that out of the way before I lose it. Then you're going to put your parts back together. So I'm putting these pieces that I cut out of my thick white cardstock, I'm just going to put right back into it's like doing a puzzle. A really, really easy puzzle. Okay, so I like to start working on the outermost one. So I'm going to hold these down. So I'm using more of this adhesive tape just to hold these where they are at the moment. This is just helping me keep them in place. This one I don't care about at this point because I'm going to start coloring it. So, okay, I am bringing in my ink pads. Let me see if I can unzoom. I may not be able to. There we go. Okay, I'm bringing in my ink pads and my blending brushes. Just recently, I have discovered that you can actually wash blending brushes. I was under the impression that you would just, when you were done, just kind of scratch them on your scratch paper and that was the end of it. But in reality, you can actually run them underwater. And they clean up pretty good. They don't come white again, but a lot of color comes out of it when you do that. And all I did was run it under the sink and let it dry. It does take several days to dry, just a heads up, or at least a lot of hours. But just a helpful hint. Okay, so I'm going to start with Melon Mambo. And I'm going to I like to use my Pick a tool for this because it's got this like goo on the end here, and it helps me to pick up the pieces I don't want. So I'm removing the first section of my rainbow, and I'm going to tap, tap, and then I like to tap off on my scratch paper, and I got a little blotch there, but don't you worry about that because I'm going to show you how you can solve that problem. If you know, that's what I was talking about. This is not coming out even initially, and that is okay because the more you do it, the more even it comes out. But even if you've got a blotch, I'm going to show you how you can solve that because I have been a demonstrator for 21 years and I have made a lot of mistakes. And not all of them ended up in the trash. Okay, so that is, I'm going to call this done. You got to know when to stop. And I'm going to bring in one of the stamps that is in the set. I said I wasn't using the set, but in reality, I guess I am. The set comes with a couple of little extra bips and bobs. It's got hearts and dots and stripes, I guess, and raindrops, along with some really fantastic words. So I'm going to use the little dots, and this is where I was going to say, if you've got, here, let me show you what I'm talking about there, right? Some of you noticed that. Some were kind enough not to say anything, but you noticed that. So to cover that up, I'm going to bring in some dots there, and no one's going to be the wiser. Well, you all will be, but it's a good way to cover something up if things go awry, so you don't have to start all over again. And I'm not going to use, I'm not going to use these on every section. So it's kind of fun to just decide where you want to put them. And maybe you want to wait until the end to see if there's a mistake that you need to cover up. All right. Again, you're going to know when to stop. I'm going to call it and say stop there. Okay, so this one is done. I'm going to stick the mask back in. And I'm going to now take my tape that's off here, stick it over here to keep that guy where he belongs. And I need the first 2 sections to stay where they belong. Now I'm going to take out the third section, if you will, or the second, I guess, depends which way you're going. I'm going to close that ink pad and move it far away. The next color I'm bringing in is Mango Melody. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. So I am using a different brush. You could kind of clean up your brush in between. You don't need a brush for each and every color, for sure. You could, like I said, you could clean it up in between, but I'm not going to. And this, don't worry, because that mask is back on there, right? So there's no need to worry about that. Although, when you're making it sometimes, particularly if there's a camera on, you're like, I did put that mask back, right? All right, I'm going to call it there. I think it's fine. Let me close that. Move it. Cover that little puzzle piece back up. Move my tape over. Move this tape over. Pull out section number 2 or 3, depends which way you are counting. Move him aside. This little guy needs to stay put. All right, he's causing a little trouble. Oh, there we go. All right, put him in his place. All right, the next color I'm using is Granny Apple Green. And like I said, I like to tap it on my scrap paper to kind of, just so it's a little less blotchy when I start. This particular project could leave your hands a little bit inky. Just a little heads up if that's the sort, whoops, this guy really is causing trouble. So I'm going to just take a little bit more Post-it note and keep him where he belongs. If you're the type that needs gloves for messy projects, and if you're that type, you know you're that type, go ahead and grab them because you might end up a little bit messy. Okay, I am going to add some hearts to this one. So the little bits that look like hearts, I'm going to put down here and try to do them a little bit kind of all over the place, a little scallywonky. And hopefully the last color doesn't get messed up because I didn't want to put, because I only wanted to add the dots and the hearts. So hopefully I won't have to figure something out for that last section. Okay, again, put your mask cover, your puzzle piece back in. Make sure that it goes top to bottom. Put the tape over that and then grab the last section. And this one is going to be Gorgeous Grape. There are no rules about rainbows anymore. I don't know if you happen to see the Rainbow Happiness paper, there are definitely no rules. There used to be this Roy G. Biv thing that people were believing in, and that's really the way the sky goes, but as far as rainbows you can make them any color you want. So I kind of did a Roy G. Biv type of look, but don't, oh, shoot, didn't want that to happen. All right, let me get some more tape here. Keep that guy in place. Okay, don't let nature affect your rainbow. You make whatever color rainbow you want and put them in whatever order you want, because I'm going to show you some samples later. You'll end up, when you start using these dies, you're going to end up with a lot of options for rainbows. So no need to follow nature, really. All right, I'm going to call it on that. I think it's fine. Okay, so it kind of looks like a hot mess at this moment. I think we could all agree. But when we peel this off, this is what you're left with. Excuse me. What I would do with this is to put it in your case, keep it aside, and you can reuse this time and time again. So I'll just leave that aside. Now, I initially made this 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And the reason I did that was if some of these edges didn't come out quite as pretty as I wanted them to, I can give them, or if it was up a little bit, you can just give it a nice tight haircut here, and then it will fit nicer on the next layer. So I am going to just give it a little tiny, I'm just going to cut off a tiny bit there, and then I'm going to cut off a tiny bit at the bottom, and then I'm going to go in and cut off more of the excess white that I don't need on there. So ultimately I want this to be 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So I'm just cutting off the excess white there that we don't need. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to show you is actually not, it's shown in the catalog, but it's not part of, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like this deserved dies and punches together, but that's not the way they did it. So the stamp set goes with the dies, but there's also this cloud punch down here. And I don't want you to miss out on that. If you're going to get this, you definitely need a cloud punch. Now, you may have an old cloud punch, and that could work fine, but if you don't, you need this. I know you're thinking, but there's clouds that come with it, which there are, but they're tiny, and clouds come in all different sizes. So, the cloud punch is found on the next page. Sells for $18, totally worth it. You can make clouds of any color, and I think you saw Lisa started the day with her awesome presentation about the driving by stamp set, and she used the paper, that the Rainbow of Happiness paper, which I'm actually not demonstrating with, but I do have something to show you with. That also has some clouds in it that actually match the cloud punch, which is awesome. So you could use those, you could use blue paper, you could use gray paper, but look at this beauty. So this is called the Mother of Pearl 12 by 12 specialty paper, and it is in the mini catalog. And the thing about it is it only has one side, right? So one side is very matte, and then the other side has this beautiful Mother of Pearl shimmer shine. So if you want to make clouds going in 2 different directions, let me show you. You basically have to do this. Does that make sense? So now I have clouds. You can't see that at all. Let me find something to put this on here. Let's put it on this here. Okay, so that's how you would make your clouds in the 2 different directions to face each other, okay? I am going to, let's layer this on my, isn't that funny? Where is my paper? Okay, I'm going to show you how I finish this card because I can't find my layer of paper. Could I have really, you know, when you're so ready and then things go poor. All right, I don't know where my orange layer went to. So I'm going to do this just on purple, but I won't actually, I won't adhere it down, so I'll go fix it later. But I will definitely show you some finished samples. Okay, so this is just a half sheet of cardstock cut hamburger fashion, short and squat, and this should have mango behind it, although it looks fine the way it is. I'm going to put a big cloud up here using the cloud punch. And I, too, am using scraps of dimensionals. I'm just going to stick that up there. And then I'm going to use some baby dimensionals. I tend to hoard my baby dimensionals. And use them only on little things. And clouds are perfect for this. So let me show you. I cut out a bunch of clouds ahead of time. And I will show you more of those in just a minute. But if you were playing around with the set, it's a good idea to do that. Just cut out a bunch at once. And then use what you'd like. And then we can kind of randomly put the clouds on this. There's not even a greeting on the front of this card. It's in my opinion, doesn't even need one. So I would put the greeting on the inside of the card. This does have some great words to it. Do I want 3? Do I want 4? I think I want 3. I'm going to stop there. All right, so let me pull in the finished card and then show you a couple of other samples. So this is kind of a reversed finish card. So this I did with the purple, a layer of purple, the exact same thing, but a layer of purple. I guess I went with all the clouds on this one, and Mango Melody in the background. And then this one here, I actually used some Balmy Blue paper, and I used Wink of Stella on that. So it's a little bit tough to see, but it adds just a little bit of glimmer to it. So that's a different kind of look. You could also do gray clouds. So I cut out a bunch of those because those would be pretty as well, I think, to have some gray clouds with the rainbow shining through. So let me show you some other ideas that you can do. Let me pack up my container of clouds. All right, let me show you some other things that you could do with this same stamp set. This idea was not mine at all. I cannot take, well, I can't take credit for many ideas being mine. I copy a lot of ideas. But the little die piece, this little die piece here, that looks like a Today Show ad to me. This little piece here, I saw Brian King had done something cute on his website, which I really liked. But so I just cut these out, and I used the Stampin' Write markers that we have been talking about today. I haven't used my Stampin' Write markers in a long time, and it's funny that none of us demonstrators actually discussed what we were doing, and yet we've all kind of, I think, wove in and out different techniques that we haven't seen in a while, which is fun. So I just used those Stampin' Write markers and made my rainbows any colors I wanted. I actually did kind of copy several of these around the Rainbow of Happiness paper, so that's sort of where I got my color inspiration. And then in the corner, I just did the Wink of Stella on the Balmy Blue. But I was thinking, what a great idea this would be if you were leaving a tip somewhere, or just to leave these somewhere, because anybody that finds something that says a little bit of something to brighten your day, that would make my day if I found that. Well, maybe not my day, but it would make me smile at the very least. So that was an idea of something you can do with this set. Let me show you a couple more samples. This is just the rainbows. I don't know if Marianne is actually stamping or doing something similar to what I'm doing, but the way that the stamp set is coordinated is that there are these spaces in between, so it's very, very forgiving. It's a great little set, and then it does have some sentiments that you can add right on top or as a layer. So that was that there, and that is some of that Rainbow of Happiness paper. This card here uses the new gingham background embossing folder, and I think at least 3 demonstrators today, if not more, have mentioned these what's it called? Artistically, I don't know. The word artistic is in it for sure. And they're adhesive back sequins. They are stunning. They are easy to mail. They don't add any kind of bulk to anything, and they work perfect with the Rainbow of Happiness paper that is for SaleABration. So if you're looking for something to get you over that $50 or $100 or $150. I have no judgment here. You definitely want to consider these artistic. I almost said it, but now I'm forgetting what it's called. Anyway, those they go perfectly with this paper, so you will enjoy them. Oh, and this I don't have a sample of this out, but this is we have something called, I think it's called Basic Borders in the catalog, and one of the borders looks like clouds. So that is also a really nice addition. In addition to the kind of basic borders that are in there, hence the name, the cloud one is really cool and a really nice addition to using the rainbows as well. Okay, I think everything looks better on black. When we were voting on, I'm forgetting who it was. I don't know if it was Susan. I forget who it was, but someone was saying, did you like the black better in the background? I'm always a fan of adding black in the background because I think it makes everything pop. And here's a perfect example of this. Now, what I did want to tell you is when you start to cut out rainbows, these were the clouds that Lisa used this morning in her background. But when you cut out clouds, you are left, when you cut out rainbows, you're left with a bunch of rainbow guts, which is fantastic because you cut this out, you cut each one of these out once, and then you're left with 4 different combinations of rainbows, right? So they're the same colors, but you could put them in a different combination. And while I'm speaking of that, look at just how cute that is. Don't overlook just that. I mean, there's no when the negative of something is so pretty, then that's just more reason you need it. Look at all of this rainbow stuff that I could put together. Okay. One more sample I wanted to show you, very similar to what I did today, and this is using our glitter rainbow paper. And again, every time you cut it out, I would have a different combination. So I actually would have 4 different similar cards to this, right, with just kind of different color accents in different places. That paper has kind of graduated color. I don't have any of it left to show you, but it's kind of a graduated color. So you'd have to decide where you're going to where to place your die to maximize what you get here. And then these here, they may be a little bit hard to see, but they are the new iridescent rhinestones that kind of take on whatever color they need to be. They're like the chameleons of accessories. So that was fun to do. And then the very last card I wanted to show you was this one here, which is pretty similar, but this is the it's kind of hard to see flat down like this, but it is the faux step card. So if you're familiar with the step card, it involves several cuts, and this is kind of a faux version of that. It's a little bit easier to put together. And I adjusted the middle so that my entire rainbow would fit in there, but then I was able to use some of the Rainbow of Happiness paper on the back. One final thing I wanted to tell you was the back of these. In this stamp set, there's a stamp that says a little something to brighten your day, and which is what I used on these as well. But there's kind of this little like ray of sunshine there. And so I think it's kind of a fun thing if you're not going to sign the back of a card, just to put it on the back of your card or put it on the envelope or put it wherever you want it. But I think it's nice to have a little bit of, sunshine, something to brighten your day. Okay, so let me just pull in a few of the samples here to show you all the things that you can do with this. And I know Marion is going to be showing us something later with it, which is different than what I've done. You won't regret this. I promise you won't regret this. I'm going to flip you around one more time. Nope, that's my messy room. Okay, I'm not going to flip you around. Maybe I am. Okay, fun fact. I did that one time and things went very poorly. And I ended up with a clown face. So, anyway. That's that. I hope that you enjoyed this, and that if you were on the fence, who's on the fence? Just go get the rainbow. But if you were on the fence, I hope that this made you think you definitely need the rainbow. And if I didn't do it, certainly stay tuned for Marion in a couple hours, and she will definitely get you over that fence. All right, thank you for tuning in. I know it's been a long day, and apparently it's great weather on the West Coast and it's great weather on the East Coast. But I'm glad that you tuned in, whether you're watching it live or watching the replay. And if there's anything you need, just go back to the demonstrator who brought you here, and she will definitely be happy to help you out. Remember, you got 2 weeks left of SaleABration, so get busy, get shopping. Okay, thanks, guys. Have a good day. Oh, tutorial will be up in about, I don't know, soon. Thanks, guys.